Hello, my name is Dan Klimek and I'm with Sisk and Company, and today we're going to do a short little safety meeting on fire extinguishers. The first thing about fire extinguishers is to understand the combustion process. If you understand how a fire burns, then it makes a little more sense as to how the extinguisher works. What we have are four components. We have heat, oxygen, fuel, and then one of the things that we don't frequently think about is the chemical reaction that gets all four of those to combine. The oxygen is in the air around us. The fuel is anything like wood, paper, plastic, oil, gasoline, any number of things. And the heat is really around us as well. It can come from the sun. It can come from other sparks, other ignition sources, overheated wires, or whatever. Fires are classed in four types of fires. We have a Class A, Class B, C, and D. Class A are ordinary combustibles. They're anything that burns with an ember and leaves an ash. Class B fires are the flammable liquids, the gasolines, oils, fuel oil, diesel fuel, things like that. Electrical, or the C-type fires, really means that they're electrically energized. It's going to be a type A material or a type B material that is most likely burning, but the ignition source is going to be from an electric arc. And a Class D fire is really a flammable metal. These might be things like aluminum, magnesium. These are going to be exposures in probably machine shops or other type of operations where you're using some of those type of metals. To look at a fire extinguisher, you'll see that there's going to be the handle. There's going to be a discharge lever. On most of these stored pressure extinguishers like this, you'll have a pressure gauge that'll show you what kind of pressure is in the extinguisher. There's going to be a discharge nozzle. A couple of things that are key. You always want to make sure that your extinguishers are inspected and tagged to show the inspection date, and you need to understand where the pull pin is located, because I've seen many times where in kind of the excitement of a fire, somebody will forget to pull the pin, they'll clamp down on things, and they tend to break handles or bend handles, even if the extinguisher has all metal components. On all of the extinguishers, there's going to be an instruction sheet. And so you'll notice it'll say things like pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, sweep, and that's really the key thing with how to extinguish a fire. However, you need to understand the firefighting decision criteria. There's always going to be an emergency plan. It's probably going to tell you something like, in the event of a fire, call 911 or call some emergency response group. That should always be your first step. You need to know the locations of the extinguishers in your area. One of the most hazardous things with any kind of fire is the smoke or combustion byproducts. So you want to stay out of the smoke. You never want to attempt to fight a fire unless you've sounded the alarm first. That if the fire is small and contained, you can maybe try to extinguish it. If the fire looks like it's too big for you, you really need to get out and follow your means of egress to get outside the building, and then where you're going to kind of regroup so you can make sure that everybody's accounted for. And then again, if you have any doubt at all, you have to evacuate. More people get hurt trying to put out fires when they're not really capable of doing it than if they would just evacuate the area and let the professionals kind of take over. The idea of fighting a fire, a little acronym, is called PASS. You want to pull the pin. You want to aim low at the base of the fire or just slightly in front of the fire. You want to squeeze the handle and then sweep from side to side. And this little series of pictures kind of shows how to do it. The person has pulled the pin, he's squeezed the handle, the discharge is coming out of the extinguisher, and you can see he's right at the front of the fire. He sweeps back and forth, and then as the fire starts to go out, pushes the extinguishment back towards the fire to have the fire go out. So just in a quick review, you need to understand the combustion process. The four elements of a fire are what causes the fire, so we need to remove one of those elements to have the fire go out. Most of the extinguishers that you're probably going to be using are going to be an ABC extinguisher. Sometimes you'll see BC extinguishers. Normally the Class D extinguishers are a separate extinguisher, separate material. You always need to know who to call for help. You need to know how to size up the scene. The most important thing in extinguishing a fire is to make sure that you don't get hurt, that you follow the steps necessary so that you feel that you're in control, you know how to size up the situation, you know how to keep yourself out of the smoke, and that really your effort to put out the fire is going to help the situation and not make it worse. You do not want to have anybody ever get injured as they're putting out a fire. You need to know the capabilities and limitations of an extinguisher. These small extinguishers we have are meant for kind of that first aid, very quick response type of use. You only have, in cases, a minute, maybe a couple of minutes of actual extinguishment, and you need to know that. And the basic firefighting concept with all this is to pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep back and forth. This presentation is available at www.gomsca.org.